one of the ones that I wanted to share today, this song called Shafi's song, that's an example of the original phone call was, I'd like a song for my wife for her birthday. Can you do that? Sounded pretty straightforward, and I said, sure. And I was thinking this probably falls into Camp 1. And then as this man kept talking and explaining, he said, it's a little bit complicated, but I don't want to talk about it over the phone. I'd like to come and sit with you in person. So when he came, he said, my wife is thinking about leaving me. We've been together for 28 years. We're at a very difficult place in our marriage. She's given me 3 children. There's an age difference between us, and maybe that's part of what's going on. She chose not to work, so maybe that's part of it. I encouraged her to get a job if she wanted to, but she's kind of at the end of the line with our kids growing up, and she wants to leave. And I want a song that will convince her of how incredible she is, and how wonderful she is, and how much she means to me, so that she won't leave. But what happened in that interview is, he said, you know, I've written a lot of love poems. Can I show you? I brought some. So I looked at these poems, and they were beautiful. They were well written. He put a lot of himself into them. And I said, well, how has she responded to these poems that you've given her? And he said, barely at all. Barely an acknowledgement, just kind of angry to get them. So that's in this story where I kind of got my aha. Because I thought, you know, if we just write a song that's a glorified version of what you've already been saying, which is, you gotta hear me, you gotta believe me, I love you, you're probably gonna get the same reaction that you've gotten with these poems. What would happen if we wrote a song in her voice? What would happen if we did this interview, and instead of talking to you, I spoke to Shafi, even though she's not really here. That's not her real name, but it's close. And, you know, do you think you could do that? And he said, I don't know, maybe I could try. Well, he did.
So you asked him to be her to the very best of his ability, and represent her reality and step out of his
what
need,
he wanted to
need.
say to her.
And instead really try to understand her in a very different way. So I neglected to say by way of introduction that you're also a trained psychotherapist, that you have a master's degree in applied psychology and spiritual psychology that you bring to these interviews. So when you interview people, one of the things I read was something about that you look for as much what people are not saying. As
you're a good reader.
as much as what they are saying. So this is one of those cases, isn't it? Where, okay, so.
I mean, I'm glad that it's neat that you saw that, and I'm really glad that you brought that forward, because to me, there's something really magical that happens in a song interview. I'm always sort of waiting for this moment where I can see both, where I can hear everything they're saying, and I hear these things between the lines that are in there that maybe I'm seeing and they're not quite yet seeing. So yeah, this was definitely a case of, I could hear him saying on the surface, I need to show her how much I love her. And what was in between those lines is, there's somebody hurting, and you're missing it because you're writing these poems about how beautiful she is and how wonderful she is, and I don't think she's feeling beautiful or wonderful right now. So
she's feeling yearning and pain and hurt.
Well,
and
so I
who
said,
knows?
I don't know what she's feeling.
Who
Let's
knows?
find out. Why don't you just be her and tell me what you know? And he said, well, I don't know how well I can do this, but people are amazing. You just take off that hat, put on this hat, and his gestures were different, his voice was different, and everything I asked him, he was able, I mean, he was sort of like half looking surprised, like, wow, I didn't think I knew this. And yes, I do know this. She's in a lot of pain. She's very frustrated. So it was a really incredible interview. And when it was over, he said something that, I love hearing this, and this does happen sometimes with interviews. He says, you know, I can't wait to hear this song. And I really want to know how it's going to sound when it's all put together. But no matter what this song sounds like, I just went to a place I've never gone to in all of the 28 years that I've been with her. I stood inside of her and stepped outside of me. And he said, I now understand she may not stay with me. But even if she doesn't, and even if we have to go through a divorce, who I'll be in those proceedings will be a very different person than if I hadn't stood there and understood her. Maybe there's a real question. Maybe she has to decide if she can find her voice in this relationship or not. So, maybe it's not about convincing her. Maybe it's about understanding where she is and supporting her to do what she needs to do.
Well, without further ado,
I'd like to share part of this song anyway.
Please.
What I'd like to do is play the beginning of this song, just the way he heard it the first time he heard it, which is just me on my guitar. And then I'd like to shift and share the chorus with you as it was recorded in the studio. I had a really unique opportunity to work with an internationally renowned harpist from these areas, Deborah Henson-Conant. She was able, when I sort of talked to her about this story, to get it so completely that you can hear in her harp playing things far beyond what you can hear in my guitar playing. My gift is to hear them and get it written, and then what I'm turning out to be good at doing is finding the right artists to bring it to life. So I'll share this first part here with you. This is just how he heard it in my living room the first time he came. This is called Shafi's Song. It is not with a light heart that I come upon this day, for I have made a long journey, and I feel angry and tired, and I long for a change that will take me far away from the aching and the pain I feel inside. And it is not what I wanted, this life that I have made. All those years given and gone have left me stranded beside this man who does not see me as I am. I watch him fumble and reach, but I'm alone. So those are the opening choruses. A pretty scary thing to think about giving to your wife on her birthday. Yeah, I gotta say, the most incredible people find me. And I think sometimes they even get to discover how incredible they are in the process of doing this project. So I just want to take it one more level. I won't play the whole song all the way through, but I just want you to hear the chorus with Deborah Henson-Conant doing it, and then a little bit of a little instrumental that she does before it goes to the second verse.
Okay.
So here's that.
All those years, all I gave, all I wanted when I took his name. I know he tried, but he so often got me wrong. When is my time? When do I sing my song?
So there's just a taste of it. It goes on a little bit, and it ends with this question, which I think we discovered together was kind of the fundamental question. It says, do I stay or do I run if I am strong? And if I stay here, is there a way here to sing my song? Yeah. I think that's the fundamental question that she needed to answer and he needed to understand is, if I love this woman and she's going to sing her song, she has to decide after everything that's happened if she can do that here or not. So you see what an honor and a privilege it is to get to do this kind of work, because people in a short period of time let you into a place where answers can start to present themselves through music.
Yeah, boy, it's such a different venue, isn't it, from what we normally think? I mean, who would think when your marriage is falling apart to come to a songwriter?
Yeah.
You know, to get healing for yourself and maybe find a way to begin the process of coming back and creating a brand new contract, which is that there are two songs, two people's songs that get to be heard in the marriage.